everybody, and welcome to Vinyl Treasures. I'm your host, Johnny G, John Galindo, coming to you live each and every Saturday, only here on Top Shelf Only Oldies. Want to welcome you to the January 25th, 2020 Vinyl Treasure Show. Yes, it's the last Saturday of the month, but I am not prepared to do an all 60s show, unfortunately. I filled in for Ramtown Mike on Wednesday night. I did a countdown on a Cleveland radio station from August 15th, 1960. I think that's the date. But I was busy with work. But I will do my All 60s show next week, next Saturday, February 1st. Tonight, it's 1950s and early 60s. Lots of requests tonight. We opened up the show with a song, a flip side of a song I featured last week by the Cufflinks. I played a 45 called It's Too Late Now with Robert Truesdell on lead, and when attempting to record the flip side, one of the members of the group got sick, so the label owner, Dootsy Williams, asked Truesdell to try his hand out at the saxophone, because he can play the saxophone. As a result, this was the instrumental that he did, and we just heard the Saxophone Rag from August 1957, and they spelled saxophone wrong on the original copies of this. It's by the Kirkland and his band, but it's really Robert Truesdale. He really is playing sax on that. But anyway, that is a cool instrumental to open it up, as we always do on the Saturday evening show. Enough of my babbling here. Let's start it off with the vocal portion with a flip side from last week, and it was a request from listener Evan Blatt. He requested Jimmy Jones and the Pretenders' Plain Old Love. Now, the other side I like also, so we're going to give a listen to the flip side. And I think, Daryl, you mentioned you wanted to hear the flip side of this. It's written by Jimmy Jones. He's on lead. Jimmy Jones and the Pretenders, October 56. We open up on the Rama label with Lover.
Boom, 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 boom.
Yes, it's you I really need, loving you like this. Oh, lover, oh, my lover, all I long to hear, your sweet one, yeah, your sweet one, darling, come back to me. Oh, lover, all I need to say. How I want to know that I love you so.
Those are great sounds of the Pretenders. Jimmy Jones on lead there, October 1956. on George Goldner's Rama record label, song entitled Lover. That is the side I bought that record. I bought that record for that side, even though Plain Old Love, I like that side also, but that's the side that I prefer. Johnny G here for a Saturday evening as we continue here. And up next, a group from Harlem, New York, recorded 6 on Bess Berman's Apollo label. This is their third, written by the lead singer. His name is Floyd Adams. Floyd Adams on lead. We go back to March 1956. I love this tune for the keynotes on Apollo. It's called Really Wish You Were Here.
Wish you were here. Wish you were here. Wish you were here. Wish you were here. I wish you were here so I could tell you, dear, how much I care, how much I want you near. You know you're the one for me. I hear wedding bells ring every time you are close to me. Then I know what me, darling, I love you so. You know you're the one for me. Please, darling, you say that you'll always be. Well, I really, 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 really love you so. Yes, I really, really, really want you to know that you're mine, you're mine, you're mine, you're mine. Oh yeah, you're mine. Wish you were here. Wish you were here. Wish you were here. Wish you were here. Wish you were here so I could hold you, dear, real close to me and say, girl, I love you so. No. Wish you were here. I wish you wish here. Darling, that's how much I care. I wish day and night that you were really near.
When I first started collecting, that was the sound that really caught my ear. That type of sound there, the keynotes there, March 1956. Bess Berman's Apollo record label, Really Wish You Were Here is the name of the tune, and it featured Floyd Adams on lead. That was their follow-up to probably their biggest New York hit, I Don't Know. That was their biggest New York hit. Johnny G here for a Saturday evening. Got to say hi to all the listeners tuned in on this horrible day here in New York City. Lots of rain, awful wind and rain. The lights were flickering. I thought I was going to lose the power. But anyway, let's continue here. And got a bunch of flip sides from last week. I think it was Daryl that mentioned I had to flip this one over as we count down the music chronologically here on the 50s and early 60s. Last week I played a request for George Tompkins from February 1952 by the Great Larks, their 8th release on Bess Berman's Apollo record label. It was called Stolen Love. I also liked the flip side, again, with Eugene Mumford on lead. We go back way back before I was born, February 1952, for the Larks on Apollo with In My Lonely Room.
In my lonely room, my thoughts return to the things we used and in my heart comes a haunting refrain. Please tell me, am I to blame? In my lonely room, our dreams have passed like the smoke out of the blue, and all that's left is a memory of you. Please tell me, what can I do? The things we used to do linger in my heart. You said that we were through right from the start. Now I can't go on dreaming of you, so there's nothing left to do but cry in my lonely room. The memories are too hard for me to bear, and when I found out that you didn't care, I cried in my lonely room. The things we used to do linger in my heart. You said that we were through right from the start. Now I can't go on dreaming of you, so there's nothing left to do but cry in my lonely room. The memories are too hard for me to bear, and when I found out that you didn't care, I cried in my
Yeah, that's a great tune there. Whoops. I'm trying to type in the chat room. I can't do it. Anyway, but yes, Chuck, you are correct. Well, actually, this record inspired Lee Andrews and the Hearts to record Lonely Room. It did. It sounded kind of similar, not exactly, but kind of reminded you of Lee Andrews and the Hearts, didn't it? But that's the Larks from February 1952. Eugene Mumford on lead. It's on Bess Berman's Apollo Records. In My Lonely Room is the name of that one, and I posted that one on my Facebook wall. Posted a few of the records that I'm featuring tonight, but that one, not an easy one to find on 45. You can find it on 78, I think, but on 45 is a pretty hard record to find as we continue here. Now, up next, I have a battle of the songs. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play two versions of the same song, and I want you to let me know. It's not like really a contest or anything, but let me know which one you like best. I'll play them back to back. First up are the Charmers out of Harlem, New York. I featured their first release on the Central label last week, The Beating of My Heart. This is their second. Beating of My Heart had Vicky Burgess on lead. The second one here has Alfred Todman on lead. We're going to follow it up with a cover of the song done by the Four Fellows a year later in September of 55. So let's start it off here first with the Charmers from March of 54. It's on Central Records. The first of the two we're playing. Tell me which one you like better. We've got to hear the first one first, but here are the Charmers with In the Rain. A lot. We had that today here.
When the rain was falling from the sky above, my poor heart was calling for someone's love. As I said a prayer, you were standing there. You came to me perfect there. Didn't mind the weather. Love was in the air. I could plainly see you were meant for me. You came to me in the rain. When you came to me on that rainy day, all the dark clouds roll away. I found happiness in your warm embrace. No one else could ever take your place. Life was sad and lonely till you came along. You're my one and only. Things just can't go wrong. I love the day that you came my way. You came to me in the rain.
While the rain was falling from the skies above, my poor heart was calling for someone to love. As I said a prayer, you were standing there. You came to me in the rain. There we were together, such a perfect pair. Didn't mind the weather. Love was in the air. It was plain to see you were meant for me. You came to me in the rain. As you came along on that rainy day, all the dark clouds passed away. I found happiness in your warm embrace. No one else can ever take your place. Life was sad and lonely till you came along. You're my one and only. Things just can't go wrong. Oh, I love the day that you came my way. You came to me in the rain. Life was sad and lonely till you came along. You're my one and only. Things just can't go wrong. How I love the day that you came my way. You came to me in the rain.
Yeah, that's a nice version. I prefer the Four Fellows for some reason. Maybe the sound quality is better. I don't know, but those of you typing in on the in the chat room there. It looks like that they like they prefer Jimmy McGowan and the Four Fellows there. But we've heard the first version by the Charmers, March 1954 on the Central label, In the Rain. Flip side is Tony My Darling, very rare 45. I have that on a 78 too. I have the 45 also, but the 78 plays much better. And I just featured the Brooklyn's own Four Fellows, Jimmy McGowan on lead with In the Rain, their third of 8 on the Glory label. That one there from September 1955. Both great tunes, but like I said, I prefer, and many in the chat, those of you going back to look at the archive, you'll see, and let me see who else here. Who else might have said, just for fun, to see, Charlene picks the Four Fellows. She typed that one in the top. Charlene, did you type it in just the Top Shelf Oldies chat room? Let's see, somebody else also on Facebook there. Who else? Donald. Did you pick Donald? He preferred the Four Fellows. There you go. The Four Fellows gets the win on the Raider record. Johnny G here for a Saturday evening. Let's continue here. Now, in last week's Final Treasure Show, I featured 3 in a row on George Goldner's Rama label, so let's do a repeat of that, and it's going to be a trifecta with the flip sides from last week. We're going to start it off first here with a group called The Bells, and last week I featured the ballad side, which was a request by George Tompkins. What Can I Tell Her Now was the ballad side. The flip, according to the label, is a jump. It's a jump. This one from July 55. These are the Bells. It features Big Bob Cornegay on lead. As we go to the Rama label, it's called Let Me Love You.
Baby, let me love you. Yeah, baby, this is what I'll do.
I'll buy you a Cadillac car. Take you to the finest bar. You go out riding. California's not too far. You let me love you. I'll buy you a diamond ring. Mink coats and everything. Spend our vacation way up in Maine. You let me love you.
I'm so tired of being alone. I got nobody to call my own. I just sit, drink all night long. Because baby,
Daddy needs his honey home. Baby, let me love you.
Love you, baby.
Please let me love you.
Love you, baby.
I'll give you anything in this wide, wide world. You let me love you. Man at home, baby, and he's treating you wrong. Just look in your direction, you'll find my phone. I'll come love you. I'll work hard every day. Bring you all my pay. I'll do anything, baby, anything you say. You let me love you.
I'm so tired of being alone. I got nobody to call my own. I just sit, drink all night long because baby,
Daddy needs this honey home. Baby, let me love you.
Love you, baby.
Please, baby. I'll give you anything in this wide, wide world. You let me love you. Baby, if you let me love you.
July 1955 there with the Bells. The Bells, Big Bob Cornegay, he's on lead. That's on George Gollner's Rama record label, the Blue Rama label. Let Me Love, Love, Love You is the name of that one. That's a cool jump tune. Yes, it is. Let's continue with Rama number 2. It's by the Wrens, and last week I played the up-tempo side. It was called Hey Girl. It featured Bobby Mansfield on lead. Now, Rama 174 comes with 2 different flip sides, that Hey Girl. One is flipped with Love Something That's Made for Two, but I'm featuring the other flip, which features Frenchy Concepcion on lead. Let's go back to November of 1955 for the Wrens on George Gollner's Rama record label, and their tune called Serenade of the Bells.
This is the story of 2 people in love. In the sleepy town of San Juanito, there's a story that a padre tells of a gay senor and senorita. That's the serenade of the bells. Seems they asked the padre for permission to be married early in the spring, but their folks had made just one decision, that the mission bells had to ring. Well, everyone knew the bells were broken and hadn't sounded for a long, long time. But one night the village was astounded, for the bells began to chime. Still the bells are broken, goes the story. But if in your heart a new love dwells, they will ring for you and all their glory. That's the serenade of the bells. That's the serenade of the bells.
Those are the Wrens from November 1955, Serenade of the Bells. That's our second Rama release there, with Frenchy Concepcion on lead for that one. We move to our third Rama release. It's by the group. This record was the record that got your host Johnny G collecting. Was a 45 that my aunt purchased back in the fall of 1955, and last week I played the side she wore out, I Love You Darling. And the flip side, though, we're going to feature now. It's a wonderful ballad with Richard Barrett on lead. It's with Jimmy Wright and the orchestra. This is our third Rama release on the trifecta. The Valentines from November 1955 with Hand Me Down Love.
down, Lord. I don't want no hand me down, Lord. I just want a real kind of love that is mine from the start. Hand me down, Lord. I don't need no hand me down, Lord. I just want a true kind of love that comes straight from your heart. I've been searching and praying that someday I'd find somebody who would adore me and love me. And then I ran into you, just you alone. Got a love that I've never known, like the kind that I'm dreaming of, and not a hand-me-down, Lord. Straight from your
As good to the last drop, a great two-sided 45 there for the Valentines, Richard Barrett, and the Valentines, November 1955, Hand Me Down Love. That is the B-side to I Love You, Darling on the Rama label. That really got me collecting. I love that Rama logo. It is on my YouTube page. You know I love the Rama label. I think, Evan, you said you love the Rama label too. It is pretty cool. Got to say hello to my high school friend down in Florida, Robert Neal. He said that he's never heard the song Serenade of the Bells, and he has Serenade of the Bells by Bobby Vinton on an LP. I've never heard Bobby Vinton's version of that, so that should be interesting, Robert. I should get that version and see what it sounds. Is that on the, what label is that? Is that on the Epic label? It has to be. I don't know. Johnny G here for Saturday evening as we continue here. Let's move into 1956. Now, I played a request for Rockin' Ed last week by the Squires, their fourth and final release on Larry Mead's Vital label. It was called Venus, which is really the intended B-side of the 45. Now, we're going to give a listen to the A-side, which has Don Bowman on lead. And this one from April 1956, the Squires on the Vital label, and their tune's called Breath of Air.
Well, I was out for a breath of air. I met a girl with long pretty hair. I walked over and gave her my line, and that evening I took her out to dine. A breath of air is what started it all. She told me if I came to her bed, I better make good friends with her dad. And if I didn't want her to be my wife, I couldn't scheme or cause me my life. A breath of air is what caused it all. I didn't listen to a word she said, because I tried for hard to win. That's where I made my biggest mistake. Because you know, that's when a father walked in. Oh yes, now I told the girl that I had better go, but I'm afraid I'm moving too slow. Cause then a father picked me off the floor, or picked me up and kicked me out the door. A breath of air is what caused it all.
didn't know just what to do. All I know is I was feeling blue. My body shook, my feet said to run, and then the father pulled out a gun. A breath of air is what's caused it all.
Now listen to me, friends, here's advice for you. If you ever feel something, here's what you do. Just open up the window, don't go out the door.
Cause you may not ever get her back no more.
And now I'll turn my story to a song. I hope I didn't make it too long. They wanna know who wrote this song. Gonna tell you I won't do you wrong. A fresh air man wrote this song and gone.
Fresh air man has wrote this song
and gone. Gone.
Yeah, those are the Squires. The Squires on the Vital label, April 1956. That's the intended A-side. Breath of Air is the name of that tune. That's with Jackie Kelso and his orchestra. And that was Don Bowman on lead. He was half of the duo Don and Dewey. Now, Terry Dewey was also a member of this Squires group, and they left the group to sign with Art Roop and Specialty Records. They had a lot of cool records that actually the Beatles took notice to some Don and Dewey releases they did. Johnny G here for a Saturday evening as we continue now. And next, got some requests going to feature on the show tonight. And here's one for young collector Evan Blatt, the group from the Bronx, New York. We go to Danny Robinson's holiday record label for this group called the Harmonaires with Clint Holland on lead. June 1956, the Harmonaires on the Black Holiday label. It's called Lorraine.
I know a girl, her name is Lorraine. She sets my soul on Ooh, my darling, I love you so, and darling, I'll never let you go. Darling, please kiss me, please hold me tight. My darling, I love you with all of my mind.
Yes, darling. While sitting here between the golden walls of love, thinking of you, you told me, darling, that love was just a simple little word, and love sure has come true, just for me and for you.
Lorraine, my darling, I love you so, and darling, I want you to know that I love you. Yes, I do, my darling, I love you. I want you to know that I need you. Yes, I do, my darling, I need you. I need you so. I know a girl, her name is Lorraine.
Yeah, by request for young collector Evan, those are the Harmonaires. The Harmonaires, Clint Holland on lead, June 1956 on Danny Robinson's black and silver print holiday label, Lorraine, the name of the tune. Now, the song written by the lead singer Clint Holland and the bass of the group, Albert George, now who would later become the bass of the Bonnievilles on the Munich label. In addition, two other members of this group, Bob Trotman and Andre Lilly, they would become members of Norman Fox and the Rob Roys on the Backbeat record label. Johnny G here for a Saturday evening as we continue, and played a request for Nat Papagallo last week by a group called the Young Lads, and boy were they young, but kicked off Jack and William Angel's Neil record label. Neil number 100 is a song called Moonlight, which was the intended B-side of that 45. The A-side is an up-tempo with Ronnie Watson on lead. We go to August 1956. Kitty Leeds here on the Vinyl Treasure Show. They're called the Young Lads on the Neil label. It's called I'm in Love.
I'm in love with you, baby. You're the cutest girl I know. Oh yeah. I'm in love with you, baby. You're the cutest girl I know. Oh yeah. Before I met you, baby, I never had no place to go. Oh no. I used to sit in my window watching all the pretty girls. Oh yeah. I used to sit in my window watching all the pretty girls. Oh yeah. But since I met you, baby, I'm the happiest boy in the world. Oh yeah. I'm like the bow-legged rooster told a pigeon, told it, baby, I just fell in love again, 'cause I'm in love with you, baby. No other girl can take your place. Oh no, I'm in love with you, baby. No other girl can take your place. Oh no, you are sweet as sugar, got the cutest little baby face. I'm like the bow-legged rooster told a pigeon, told it, and baby, I just fell in love again, 'cause I'm in love with you, baby. No other girl can take your place. I'm in love with you, baby. No other girl can take your place. Oh no, you are sweet as sugar, got the cutest little baby face. Oh yeah.
Kitty Leeds here on the Vinyl Treasure Show. That group, they're out of Brooklyn, New York. The tune written by Les Cooper, actually wrote both sides of that 45. Wes Cooper, of course, his Wiggle Wobble fame on the Everlast record label. That one there, August 1956. The Young Lads with a young Ronnie Watson on lead. I'm in Love is the name of that one on the Neil label. Not many records on Neil Records. I think I have them all. Or I'm missing the last one. The last one, I think, a single artist, possibly. Johnny G here, spinning original vinyl 45s. It should be my all 60s show, but that will be next next week. I was totally unprepared to do the 60s show, which is harder for me because none of my 60s records are in any type of filing order. They're not. They're just scrambled all over the place, so it's much harder for me to find the requests. I did find some requests from a number of months ago, though. I will play them next week. But anyway, let's continue now. On last week's Vinyl Treasure Show, I played a song, I played a request for George Tompkins by the Angels, a group from Newark, New Jersey, with their version of the tune Glory of Love. But let's give a spin to the flip side before I file it back down in the No Humidity basement. This tune co-written by the lead singer. His name is Bernard Lynn. We go to October of 1956. This is George Golner's G label, the red and black G label. These are the Angels with It's You I Love Best.
Do, do, do.
I've the courage to speak to you truthfully. If you listen, I know you'll believe in me. You'll never turn away. Be glad to hear me say, my darling, oh my dearest, it's you I love best. Though we are miles apart, and I may long for love, you'll stay in my heart. I'll walk in no other's arms. Now I'll wait and pray for that sweet day you say, my darling, oh my dearest, it's you I love best. I live for your grace. You're my key, to happiness. Open up the door, love me more and more. Love me, baby. Won't you love me from now on? Though we are miles apart, and I may long for love, you'll stay in my heart. I'll walk alone other's arms. Now I'll wait and pray for that sweet day you say, my darling, oh my dearest, it's you I love best. It's you I love best.
Those are the Angels on George Golner's G record label, October 1956. It's You I Love Best is the name of that one. Bernard Lynn on lead. That's the flip side of Glory of Love. That's with Jimmy Wright and the orchestra. Now, a little bit confusion on this record because my copy has a 45 RPM on both sides under this trademark, and I know that there are presses without the 45 RPM. I know those are second presses, or later presses. I don't want to say second presses, they are later presses, but I don't know if there is one with just the 45 RPM. I was looking on images and I couldn't find one, but I know the ones with just the trademark, those are later presses, and Kreider has it, I think, in one of the books. It's just on one side. I've never seen it on one side. It's got to be on both sides of the label. Johnny G babbling on here. Let's continue here. Here's another request for young Evan, as he requested this singer's second release on Sid Nathan's deluxe label. And what's cool when you collect the King, the Deluxe, and the Federal label, for a while there, Sid Nathan was putting like bios on the groups and the artists, so they're called bio promos. And I have one of those with this release by Donnie Elbert. And here's what this bio promo said, which is pretty interesting. One of the fastest rising stars in the record field, Donnie Elbert, is well on the road to the tops. This 21-year-old lad was born in New Orleans, Louisiana on May 25th, 1936. Now, his childhood ambition was to become a professional basketball player, but it was forestalled when Donnie sent in some audition records in New York, and within 2 weeks was signed to an exclusive deluxe record contract. That's what's on the A side of Evan's request. So let's give it a spin here, because I really do like this song from August 1957. Donnie Elbert on deluxe. It's called Believe It or Not.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. Well, believe it or not, I'm in love, and I want you to be my lovey dove. Well, believe it or not, you got my heart, and it's been yours from the start. Well, you're going to be my baby some bright and sunny day. Oh, the day you come to me, you light my life in every way. Well, believe it or not, I've never felt this way before. Say that you'll be mine forevermore. Yeah, well, you're going to be my baby some bright and sunny day. Oh, the day you come to me, you light my life in every way. Well, believe it or not, I've never felt this way before. Say that you'll be mine forevermore. Well, now believe it or not.
August 1957 release there for Donnie Elbert and group. Sid Nathan's deluxe label by request for Evan. Believe It or Not is the name of the tune. And now the flip goes on to say that his first release was What Can I Do? And although he was born in New Orleans, he moved to Buffalo shortly thereafter and received all his education there and made his first professional appearance at the Town Casino in Buffalo when he was 21 years old. It does not mention that he was a member of the Vibra Harps on the Beach label. He was involved with that group. Yes, he was. But that's a cool tune by Donnie Elbert. Johnny G here for a Saturday evening. We continue here, and up next, a request for Richard Fox, currently in our YouTube chat room. It's on Archie Blier's Cadence label, not really known for group harmony. You get the Everly Brothers, and you get the Cordettes, and you get Lenny Welch, and you get, what's his name, who sings Moon River? What is his name, John? You know who sings, Daryl, who sings Moon River? Usually he's not, who sings Moon River on the Cadence label? Anyway, the Everly Brothers, etc. But this group has two great sides on the Cadence label, and led by former lead singer of the Diamonds that recorded on the Atlantic label. His name is Sonny Wright. He's on lead. This record charted number 29 on KAYO in Seattle, Washington. So by request for Rich, this one from October 57, the Metronomes on Cadence. It's called Dear Don.
Do 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 do. Dear Dawn, dear Dawn, dear Dawn, dear Dawn, dear Dawn.
This hurts me more than words can say. Believe me, there's no other way. Can't we still be friends?
Till the very end, we'll be friends.
Now in Dawn's heart there is sorrow, and in Dawn's eyes there are tears. For Dawn there's no bright tomorrow, only memories of a happy yesterday. Oh, she's gone, and friends say it was meant to be. Why am I crying? Well, friend, you see, dear Donna happens to be me.
The sound of the metronomes here on the Vinyl Treasure Show with Sonny Wright on lead, October 1957, requested by Rich Fox. Dear Don is the name of that one. That's the second of two on the Cadence record label with Sammy Lowe and the orchestra. As we continue here, we continue with the request. We move into 1958 with a request for Nat Papagallo. Hope you feel better, Nat. So please go and rest. You can always hear this one on the archive. This group from San Francisco, California, they're called the Five Trojans. It's on the Tender label. It features James Thompson on lead. We go back to September 1958. The Five Trojans on Tender. It's called Alone in This World.
I'm alone in this world without a girl of my own. Everybody's saying my heart's made of stone, but if one was true, really, really true, oh, I'm alone in this world. There must be a girl. I'm so disappointed. My faith will my heart is blind. Give me a sign that you're changing me. Oh, will I knock on your heart on first of September? We close the doors on November. You knock me in your heart and threw the key away. We'll be happy watching every day, baby. You're my one desire. You know you set my soul on fire. Oh, oh, oh,
That's by request for Nat Papagallo there. Those are the Five Trojans, September 1958. It's on the Tender label. The Tender label, Alone in This World, is the name of that one. I don't know, Evan, if it was distributed by Dot by this point. because later on Dot Records, I think, got involved with this label after You Cheated with the Shields. But anyway, those are the five Trojans. James Thomas on lead. Now, this group would have two more releases in 1959 on the Edison International and Triangle labels. I featured the true first press for you collectors out there as the five Trojans, as it also came out as just the Trojans and was also booted, so be very careful if you have it on like a dark pink label. That's not an original. Johnny G here, spinning original vinyl 45s. Now here's an old request. I found this record when I was pulling records for that 1960s countdown when I filled in for Ramtown Mike on Wednesday. But the Colonel requested this one. I found this one while looking for that WADQ survey, and actually, I have a program note that I will not be doing a show in 2 weeks on February 8th. Platypus Jeff will be filling in at 10 p.m. right after Back to the Hop with Clark Davis. So that'll be on February 8th. I have a birthday party to go to, so I will not be able to do the show that evening. So anyway, but this group is called the Yachtsmen. Now, the 45 came out twice. Initially, this record came out in 1958, but then again came out in 1961. I think it was reviewed in Billboard in 1961, but not in 58. But the 1958 release for you collectors out there has a New York City address below the logo, the Harglow logo. And that's the copy I'm spinning, going out to the Colonel. These are the Yachtsmen from 1958. It's called Our Future.
Our future land, I hope you understand. As long as I live, I'll be at your command.
Called the Yachtsmen from 1958. Came out on the Harglow record label. Our Future is the name of that one. And the true first press, as I mentioned, has an address before the logo. If you don't see that address, you have that 1961 press. They're very easily detectable, they are. Now, this group had other releases on the Destiny label. Plus, they backed up Bobby Sharp and Lloyd London on the Destiny label. I have all those 45s. I think I have every record that came out on that Destiny label. Anyway, Johnny G here, continuing. We're spinning original vinyl 45s. We do it every Saturday from 10 to midnight right here. Now, here's a request for listener Jason Adams. And I don't know, Jason, if you're tuned in, but I know you typed into the chat room if I had a Crickets record. And what went through my mind was, Dean Barlow and the Crickets. But no, you meant Buddy Holly and the Crickets. And everybody knows this group, as I mentioned, I let it out of the bag, from Lubbock, Texas. Now, it's their 5th release on the Brunswick label, and it's a B-side. It's a B-side. Everybody's used to hearing the A-side of this record, their 5th release. It's So Easy, but this is the B-side. These are the Crickets with Buddy Holly on lead. It's a song he wrote. This is going out to Jason Adams from September 58. The Crickets with Lonesome Tears.
Lonesome tears, sad and blue. I've shed lonesome tears for you. Yes, you know I cried when you said goodbye. I cried for you, lonesome tears. When you left and said I'm gone, lonesome tears fell all night long. Yes, you know I cried when you said goodbye. You left me here all alone. Hear me talking, won't you come back home? Love me like you did before. Now need I tell you more? Lonesome tears, sad and blue. I shed lonesome tears for you. Yes, you know I cried when you said goodbye. Tears, sad and blue. I shed lonesome tears for you. Yes, you know I cried when you said goodbye.
B-sides here on the Vinyl Treasure Show. That's the Crickets. That's the Crickets with the Buddy Holly on lead, going out to Jason Adams. September 1958, Lonesome Tears is the name of that one on the Brunswick record label. I used to listen to Gus Gossard, and he would feature Buddy Holly and the Crickets quite often. Now, Evan asked me if I have Buddy Holly records on the Decca label. I'm not going to answer that, Evan. I want you to figure it out. What do you think? Do you think I have Buddy Holly 45s on the Decca label? I'll let you answer that one. Johnny G here for a Saturday evening as we continue here. And I have another request, Evan. So this one's for you. Wanted to hear the original version of this song by the Sharps. There is an original version for 6 months, 3 weeks, parentheses, 2 days and an hour, which later came out on the Chess label with a slightly different title, by the way. If you have it on the Chess label, it doesn't spell out any of the numbers like it does on Chess, because Chess, it has the numbers 6 months, 3 weeks, 2 days, 1 hour. So it is a slight variation in the title. And the Chess release does not include an intro that is on the first press that came out on the Tag label out of Hollywood, California. Now, the reason why I think this was eliminated from the Chess release is because there's like some kind of problem with the beginning of the record. I think there is, because I have 2 copies of this, and it is kind of distorted in the beginning of both the copies. I don't know why, but it is, and maybe that's the reason. But anyway, it features Carl White on lead. This one from January 58 going out to Evan. These are the Sharps on Tag with the original version of 6 months, 3 weeks, 2 days, and an hour.
Love is
Those are the Sharps with Carl White on lead. That's going out to Evan. Requested the original version with the intro there, the intro on the tag label from January 58, 6 months, 3 weeks. In parentheses, it says 2 days and an hour. And that one there came out in January 58. It was, I think the chess label came out, I think a month later in February 58. And 3 members of this group previously recorded with the Lamplighters on the Federal label, Carl White, Al Frazier, and John Sonny Harris. And they later on would become in 62 the Rivingtons. Yes, they would. As we continue here on the Vinyl Treasure Show. Now, last week I played a request for Richard Fox by a group called the Five Chords. They were out of Newark, New Jersey. The song was called Don't Just Stand There. And that was the intended A-side. So let's give a listen to the flip side. Johnny Jones is doing lead on this side too from September 1958. Here are the Five Chords. The Five Chords on the Jamie label with Love is Like Music. Those are the Five Chords. Five Chords, September 1958. They're out of Newark, New Jersey on the Jamie label out of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Love is Like Music, parentheses, do-re-mi is that one. And no, Evan, that Johnny Jones is not Jimmy Jones. No, it is not. As we continue here on the Vinyl Treasure Show, here's a request for George Tompkins. He wanted to hear this trio of brothers out of New Britain, Connecticut. They are Earl, Edward, and Everett Mifflin. They're a.k.a. the Mifflin Triplets. Now, their initial release came out on the Impact label, which I have featured here on the show, but this is their second release as we go to Al Silver's Ember Records by request for George. This one came out in October 1958. The Mifflin Triplets on the Ember label. It's called I Do.
You'll walk down the aisle, I'll be by your side, and there as you smile, the heavens open wide, for our love will be forever. When we answer, I do. I'll take your hand, I'll put on the ring, and there as you stand, the angels will sing, for our love will be forever. When we answer, I do. Oh, darling, be true to me, and I'll be true to you, and we'll share our love together as our lovers do. As time goes by, for you and me, our love will go on, and happy we'll be, for we vow to love each other. When we answered, I do. For we vow to love each other. When we answered, I do.
That sounds like another record. I got it running through my head. I'm trying to pin that one down. Anyway, that's going out to George Tompkins, the Mifflin Triplets, October 1958. Nice sound on the Ember label. The song entitled I Do, as we continue here, and was finally able to find this old request for Nat. Nat, I was looking for this. Actually, I was looking for the LP first, but I knew I had the 45 somewhere. I was thumbing through hundreds of boxes for that countdown show I did on a Wednesday evening, but Nat requested an unreleased song. Well, it was released on an LP, came out on the Dandy label in 1962, but Val Shively put it out on his Monogram label, I think in 1976, so collectors can have it on a 45. Now, the group is out of Danbury, Connecticut, and they recorded this in 1958, and the tune written by William Tucker, and he's the lead singer. Let's give it a listen here, going out to Nat. They're called The Highlights, and this is originally on that Dandy LP, but this is on the Monogram label on 45, going out to Nat. The Highlights and their tune called Pretty Face.
Yeah, pretty face it you, yeah, no one else in the world will do, yeah, I love you from the bottom of my heart, yeah, pretty face it you, bow, bow, bow.
As going out to Nat Papagallo, those are the highlights. The highlights recorded in 1958 was released on a 1962 LP. Pretty rare LP, by the way, if you have that one. And then Val Shively put it out on his Monogram record label. Pretty Face is the name of that one. William Tucker on lead. He was the lead singer. And this group, this highlights group, they have legit releases on the Julia record label. They do a Gloria, and two are on the Record Fair record label. Two nice sides by them on that label. Johnny G here. We are listening and spinning original vinyl 45s. Got another request for Richard Fox. He wanted to hear this group called The Parliaments. Came out on Buddy Caldwell's Len label. Now, this is not the George Clinton Parliaments. They were out of Plainfield, New Jersey, but this group is on the Len label out of Philadelphia. Now, the song is written by the lead singer. His name is Arnold Bennett. So this is going out to Rich from 1958, The Parliaments on Len. A great tune here, by the way. It's called Don't Need You Anymore. Sounds of 58 here on the Vinyl Treasure Show. That's a great request, Rich. Those are the Parliaments. The Parliaments on Buddy Caldwell's Len record label. Actually, no, that is Len 101. I have Len 100. That's Len 101. Don't Need You Anymore. Arnold Bennett, he's the lead singer. He wrote the tune. Now, this group also backed up Joe Van Loan in 1959 on the V-Tone record label. I have to get that record out to play also. Johnny G here for a Saturday evening. Let's continue here. We move into 1959, and on last week's show, I played a request for Evan Blatt by the Five Satins. It was called When Your Love Comes Along. Now, let's give a listen to the flip side because I like the flip side too before it goes back down in the No Humidity basement. Now, this one came out on a Dick Lawrence's Another First label. Now, Fred Paris is on lead, and he also co-wrote the tune. Now, for you collectors out there, the true first press of this should be on the Orange label, and the light green labels are like a little later. They came out just a little bit later than the Orange presses, but this is an interesting release because this is a three-way deal with record label owners, really, involving Al Silver, George Goldner, and Dick Lawrence. Al Silver probably owing a favor to those two guys, so he loaned out the master of the Five Satins record because this was originally recorded for Ember Records, but he leased it out to those two guys. George Goldner pressed them up, and Dick Lawrence owned the label. This one from May 59. Give a listen to the Five Satins on first. Another first. It's called Skippity Doo.
Skip, 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 skippity. You're good to skip, 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 skippity doo.
Love me, baby, with all your heart and soul. Love me, baby, don't leave me in the cold, 'cause you're good to be. I love you, darling, you are my one desire, and when I'm with you, you set my heart on fire. You're good to be. Remember the night I first gazed upon you. You had me so I couldn't see. Remember the light that was driving me on. Hearken to your memory. I'll always need you, 'cause you were meant for me. So please remember until eternity that you're good.
Skip, 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 skippity.
I'll always need you, 'cause you were meant for me. So please remember until eternity that you're good.
Skip, 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 skip,
Yes,
skippity.
you're good.
Skip, 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 skippity.
Those are the Five Satins out of New Haven, Connecticut, and that one there called Skippity Doo. It came out on the another first record label, May 1959. JohnnyG's got marbles in his mouth here, but anyway, that's a cool tune there. As we continue here on the Vinyl Treasure Show, got another request for the Colonel. This group out of Cincinnati, Ohio. This is also not an easy 45 to find. Two of its members were previously members of Otis Williams' Charms, Winfield Gerald, and lead singer of this group, Lonnie Carter. They were called the Escos. It's on Eve Dodd's Esta label out of Hamilton, Ohio. This one's going out to the Colonel, a rare 45 from July 59. Give a listen to the Escos on Esta. It's called I'm Lonesome for You.
I miss you, darling, more than you know.
Going out to the Colonel there. Those are the Escos. The Escos from July 59. Lonnie Carter on lead. It's on the Esta label. Those are not common records to find. Anything on Esta is really hard to find. It's out of Hamilton, Ohio, the label. I'm Lonesome for You, the name of the tune. Now, Lonnie Carter, he's on lead. The music is by the Swingin' Rocks. Now, the group would then sign with Sid Nathan's federal label. Yes, Warren, there's 4 releases by that same group on the federal label. I think you have requested a few of those records. They're pretty good, too. Johnny G here spinning original vinyl 45s. We are in the year 1959, so let's continue with another request for Richard Fox. This group is out of Chester, Pennsylvania. They're called the Kings 5. It's another rare 45. It's on the Trophy label, and the music is provided by the New Red Tops. This is by request for Richard. Features Jesse Atkins on lead. This one from 1959, the Kings 5 on Trophy. I posted this on my Facebook wall. You can check it out. It's called I Hear the Rain, and I sure did today.
I hear the rain upon my window pane. I'm wondering if you're coming home tonight. I'm sitting all my love for you, my dear. So please bring it on to me. I hear the rain upon my window pane. I'm wondering if you're coming home tonight. I'm sitting all my love
That is an ultra rare 40. It's hard to find that record. It really is to find one. And Robert Hunter, you never seen that record before. I mean, I don't know who's. I did see a copy. Who had a copy? Greg Zurich, I think. But I already had the record. I mean, I could use an upgrade. I can't. But anyway, that's by request. No, yes. That's by request for Richard Fox. The King's 5, 1959. I Hear the Rain is the name of that one. Came out on the Trophy label. I bought this record sometime in the early 1980s at a record show. I forget where. I think it might have been in New Jersey, from Bob Ellis. If anybody's ever dealt with Bob Ellis, he's also known as the Count. Dealing with him was like pulling teeth, and I don't think he charged me that much for that record, I think. But anyway, let's continue here on the Vinyl Treasure Show, and we're going to stay in Pennsylvania for this group from Lancaster, Pennsylvania, and it's a request from my California listener, Matey Campboy, and it's on the Sound Souvenir label. It features Eddie Speller on lead. This one, interesting, it says distributed by Stan's Record Bar in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. Now, Stan is Stan Felton, and he owned the label Sound Souvenir. So this is going out to Matey. June 1959. It actually says here, the Crystalaires of Lancaster, Pennsylvania. And the song is called Nobody Nowhere. That's going out to Matey Campoy there, the Crystalaires of Lancaster, Pennsylvania. That's what it says on the label. June 1959, Nobody Nowhere is the name of that one. Came out on the Sound Souvenir label. Now, this master was presented to Sid Nathan of King Records, who wanted the group to re-record the song, but they were in a serious car accident in which 4 of the members of the group were unfortunately killed. So it never, ever happened. But the lead singer, Eddie Speller, he was one of the two people that did survive that accident. Unfortunately, a terrible thing happened there. But that one there going out to Matey Camp Boy. Johnny G here for a Saturday evening as we continue here. And you all know this next group out of New Haven, Connecticut. I played their biggest hit not too long ago on my Aunt Mary's tribute show. And she bought the 45 back in 1955, Story Untold, that by the Nutmegs. But here's one that came out 4 years later on Al Silver's Herald label, recorded sometime in 1958, written by the lead singer Leroy Griffin. This one from March 59. Give a listen to the Nutmegs on the Herald label with their tune called My Story.
Well, I tell my story to you. You won't believe me, but such things are true.
Well, out of my heart comes my story to you, and you won't believe, but such things are true. For out of my heart comes my story to you.
Story to you.
Now you've gone and left me when I needed you, and you told the world what I've done to you. For out of my heart comes my story to you. As night rolls along, you just couldn't wait. Yes, you told the world that love came too late. As night closed about me, and I stood alone.
Then you and my poor heart to stop.
You told the world that I was untrue, and you told the world what I've done to you. For out of my heart comes my story to you.
As Leroy Griffin and the Nutmegs, always great to hear the Nutmegs. Now, March 1959, although recorded in 1958, My Story is the name of that one. That's their 6th of 7 releases on the Herald label. I think on the last release, Leroy Griffin is not doing lead anymore. I forget who, but anyway, I featured that on a white promo. I'd like to get those. The promos play better for you collectors out there. If you ever have a choice to get a promo or a stock copy, I think 90% of the time you're going to want the promo copy. They were just made to be played more, and sometimes a lot of those Columbias, for instance, they'll be on nice hard vinyl. That's what you want. Johnny G here, spinning original vinyl 45s. We're going to move into 1960 now with a request for George Tompkins. Now, this group is out of Columbus, Georgia. They were called the Searchers, and this is on Donald McNally's Mac label, MAC Records. Now, the group included 3 brothers, Roosevelt James and Oscar Tony. Yes, the same Oscar Tony Jr. that had a top 20 national hit in 1967, if you know the song on the Bell label, his version of For Your Precious Love. He is doing lead on this record. Oscar Tony Jr. is on lead with this group called The Searchers, going out to George Tompkins, December 1960. Let's give it a spin. The Searchers on Mac. It's called Yvonne.
Y-V-O-N
December 1960 release there for the Searchers. The Searchers with Oscar Tony Jr. on lead. Yes, going out to George Tompkins there. Yvonne is the name of that one on the Mac label. Music provided by the Kayos, K-A-Y-O-S. And they have another 45 on Mac Records backing up someone by the name of Sonny Williams. I do not have that 45. No, I don't. Johnny G here for a Saturday evening spinning original vinyl 45s. We continue here now. A couple weeks ago, I featured both sides of Billy Mann's 45 on the Dig label. You may have remembered it. Was it who requested it? Was it Rich that requested it? A Million Heartaches ago, and I played the next week. I played Just Like Before. Well, Billy Mann returns as lead of this next group. They're called the Glens. And yet another interesting note about this is that the publisher is Dayton Music Company, with the writers of this song are Altfeld and Berry, which is Don Altfeld and Jan Berry. Yes, Jan Berry of Jan and Dean fame. Now, this 45 was second pressed on the Sudden label in 1961, so some of you may own it on the Sudden label. I do, but the first press came out in September of 1960 on the Latini label. Then this one from September 60, give a listen to the Glens on the Latini label. It's called Cherish My Love.
She came from up above. I gave her all my love. She was the treasure of my heart. Cherish my love. Love me forever. Cherish my love.
Those are the Glens from September 1960. Billy Mann on lead for that one, Cherish My Love. It's on the Latini record label. This group consisted of Billy Mann, Renee Beard, Carl White, and Cleo White. Johnny G here, spinning original vinyl. We continue now. We are in the year 1960. Evan, where are you getting all these requests? Are these records that you have, or records that you know about, or records that you like to hear? Because you requested this one, this group out of Detroit, Michigan, and they had 3 releases on Devorah Brown's Fortune label, and Evan requested their second release. They're called The Earthquakes, and it features our Armand King on lead. This one from 1960 for Evan, The Earthquakes on Fortune. It's called This Is Really Real. Those are the Earthquakes. The Earthquakes out of Detroit, Michigan. That's going out to Evan. 1960 release. This is really real. Yes, it is. That is a real press. It is, Evan. On the Fortune label. Now, Armand King is on lead. Now, this group consisted of three brothers and their father. Armand Abney, a.k.a. Armand King, he was the lead singer. Butler Abney Jr. was the tenor, and a stepbrother, Cliff Lance, he was a tenor, and the father, Butler Abry Sr., he was the bass of the group, and the Rhythm Kings were providing the music. There you go. Johnny G here. We are now in Vinyl Treasure Overtime, and we head to the state of Ohio, to Canton, Ohio, to be exact. Now, this group formed while attending high school and signed with Sid Nathan's King label for 2 releases. This is their second. It features Eddie Levert on lead. This one from December of 1960. These are the Mascots on King with That's the Way I Feel.
The way I feel about you.
First time I met you, darling, my heart did a flip. Next time I met you, darling, I knew that this was it. Next time I met you, darling, I knew that I would never stand the chance of my love grew. And that's the way I feel about you. Darling, I love you. You know I do. With all my heart and soul. With a promise, darling, your love will return. Darling, I love just you. First time I met you, darling, my heart did a flip. Next time I met you, darling, I knew that this was it. Darling, I love you. You know I do. With all my heart and soul. With a promise, darling, your love will return. Darling, I love just you. Next time I met you, darling, I knew that I would never stand a chance of my love grew. And that's the way I feel about you. That's the way I feel about you. That's the way I feel about you. That's the way I feel about you.
That's the second of 2 for the Mascots on December 1960. Sid Nathan's King record label. That's the way I feel. Eddie Levert on lead there. Now on Wednesday I did a countdown of August 15th, 1960 for Cleveland station WABQ, and one of those disc jockeys was on that station was Eddie O.J., and it was him that renamed this group the O.J.'s. And they went on to have all those cool soul singles in the 1960s, but that's an early OJs. They're on other labels too, by the way, the OJs. I have them on the Apollo label, I have them on the Imperial label. They do some cool records, but of course we're going to hear the flip in 2 weeks. We are in Vinyl Treasure Overtime. Back to the requests. This one for the Colonel. It's on the Poor Boy label out of Muncie, Indiana. Now, the record is a King custom press. and all the group members are mentioned on the label. Pretty cool to do that. The group includes and has all the groups, mentions all the group members. And the song is written by Sam Dargo, and he's also the lead singer. So by request going out to the Colonel, February 1960, they're called the Originals, the Originals. It's on the Poor Boy label. It's called Lend Me Your Ear.
It's almost 11. If you'll just relax, I'll send you to heaven by whispering to you. I love you so. I love you so. Well, my darling, lend me your ear. I want you to hear just what I have to say. Yes, I love you, darling. Oh, so very much. But if the time should come when we should part, I hope that you will always be so very happy.
Those are the Originals. They are from Muncie, Indiana, going out to the Colonel, February 1960. With Sam Darnold on lead, the slow cha-cha there called Lend Me Your Ear. Lend Me Your Ear every Saturday from 10 to midnight right here on Top Shelf Oldies. We head to Chicago, Illinois for this next request for Richard Fox. It's the group's debut single on Lenny LaCour's Lucky 4 label. Now, I wasn't aware that this title had two variations, and Rich requested the song Please Say It Isn't So. That is actually the second variation of the record. Now, the first presses came out as Say It Isn't So. I don't think I have that press, because my copy is Please Say It Isn't So. But anyway, either way, it's a great record out of Chicago, written by the lead singer. His name is Morris Spearman, going out to Rich from September 61. These are the Swingin' Hearts on Lucky 4 with Please Say It Isn't So.
I don't know, but I've been told you don't love me. I don't know, but I've been told you don't want me. I don't know, but I've been told, baby, say it isn't so. Ooh, yeah. I don't know, but I've been told
Out of Chicago, Illinois, by request for Rich, the Swingin' Hearts, September 61. My copy is Please Say It Isn't So, but the first press is Say It Isn't So. Came out on the Lucky Four record label. And Morris Spearman, he's on lead. He also co-wrote the tune now. This one also came out in 1964. It was re-released in 64 on the New York City Diamond label. And they have other releases, too, on the 620 label. They have some soulful releases on the Magic Touch label. I like their tune, Spanish Love. That's a cool record on the 620 label. Johnny G here in Vinyltreasure Overtime. And here's a request for California listener Matey Camp. I've been searching my boxes for this one for a long time. I finally found it when looking for some of those 60s 45s on the countdown. But this singer is from Nashville, Tennessee. He was initially a member of the Chargers that recorded on the RCA record label and another group called the Dinosaurs on the Rendezvous label. Then he went solo in 1960. He's probably best known for a 1962 release on Little Star called I Don't Love You No More. But here's one he did on the Good Sound label. It's the first of two records that came out on Good Sound. This one requested by Matey. This was a number 5 record on KTKT in Tucson, Arizona from February 61. This is Jimmy Norman on Good Sound with Here Comes the Night, Part 1.
Here comes the night, another night without you. Yes, and I'm blue. I just can't live without you. So come on home, come on home, come on home, because I love you. I walk the streets, I walk the streets at night looking for you, hoping you come in sight. I need you so. Come on home and come on, baby, because I love you. I stare at the glow of the street lights, and your face is always there. But when I rush up to that glow, your face just disappear. And here comes the night, another night without you. Yes, and I'm blue. I just can't live without you. So come on home, now come on, baby. Don't you know I love you? Oh, and your face, it's always there. Yeah. Your lovely face just seems to disappear. And here comes the night, another night without you. Yes, and I'm blue. I just can't live without you. So don't you come on, baby, come on, honey, come on, because I love you. I love you. Come on, baby, come on, because I love you. Come on, honey, you know I love you. You know I love you.
As by request from Matey Campoy, Jimmy Norman there, February 1961, the first of two on the Good Sound label. I was happy to finally find that record. Here Comes the Night. Part 1 is the name of that one. As we continue here in Vinyl Treasure Overtime, I think I found this one, Warren. I think you requested this record a while back. I couldn't find it. I did find it. An old request for Bopper Boy Warren by this Los Angeles, California studio group consisting of Glenn Campbell, Rick Nelson, Dave Burgess, Jerry Fuller, and I think some of the other champs. It's on Gene Autry's Challenge label. Now, initially, they had a release as the Fleas in 1961, but they had 3 as the Trophies, and this is the first of 3 on the Challenge label with Glenn Campbell on lead for this one. I think, Warren, you requested this from January 62. These are the Trophies on Challenge with their tune called Desire.
That's what I feel. Desire. Can this be real? Desire. Oh, that's what I feel for you. I've traveled the world, but I couldn't find a lovelier girl, so tender and kind. Desire. Oh, that's what I feel for you. With such desire, I find it hard to wait, but someday I know you'll be my loving mate. Desire. Oh, so hungry inside, my heart is on fire. A love I can't hide. Desire. Oh, that's what I feel for you.
With such desire, I find it so hard to wait, but someday I know you'll be my loving mate.
Desire. So hungry inside, my heart is on fire. A love I can't hide. Desire. That's what I feel for you. Desire.
That's an old request going out to Bopper Boy Warren, the Trophies. January 1962, that's the first of 3 on the Challenge label. The song entitled Desire. That charted on KYA in San Francisco, California, number 34 on that survey. And some internet sites, I was looking this record up, they said Rick Nelson is on lead. No way. It's Glenn Campbell on lead for that one. Tune Desire. Johnny G here in Vinyl Treasure Overtime. Here's another lost request for Matey Campway as we go to Leonard Chess's Argo label, a duo out of Wichita, Kansas, Don Lavelle and Bob Love, a.k.a. Don and Bob. It's the second of 2 they have on the Argo label, and a song they wrote. This by request for Matey, September 61. Argo Records, Don and Bob with I'm Lost.
Another night alone, another tear I've shed, darling, on bending knees. Another prayer I've said, I'm lost, lost in my lonely world.
like drops of rain, each lone and lonely night echoes your name. I'm lost in my lonely world. Oh, bodies of my heart, oh, I love you so, 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 and my flame of love will forever and never glow, glow, glow. Yes, I will go to bed and dream of you. Then at the break of dawn, I'll start anew. I'm lost in my lonely world. Lost in my lonely world. Lost in my
Yeah, echo at the end of that. That's going out to Matey Campboy, Don and Bob, September 1961. A second of two on the Argo record label, song entitled I'm Lost. Their first release was a song called Shy Guy. Warren says the flip side is a killer on the flip. We're going to have to listen to that in a couple of weeks as we continue here. Had this B-side sitting in my play box for quite a while. Figure I'd give it a spin tonight. Featured the A-side by this group out of San Bernardino, California, known as the Pentagons. And the side I featured was I Wonder If Your Love Will Ever Belong to Me. So let's give a listen to the B-side of the 45 before it goes back down in the No Humidity basement. It's produced by Lester Sill, George Mottola, and Lee Silver. Features Joe Jones on lead from August 1961. These are the Pentagons on Jamie with a B-side. It's called She's Mine.
I've searched so long, now I have found her. Everything I own is just wrapped around her. She loves me, and only me, I know. Many, many tears and much pretending. Looks like there will be a very happy ending. She loves me, and only me, I know. Just two happy people alone and in love with each other. Two happy people. Oh, please, love, don't let it die. Just let me take your hand, and I'll be gentle. Thoughts of you will always be so sentimental. She loves me, and only me, I know. She loves me, and only me, I know.
We'll send that one out to Chuck Staton listening in Las Vegas. No, Nevada, not Las Vegas. I'm sorry, Chuck, but that's a great record. They like that one there. The Pentagons, Joe Jones on lead, August 1961, She's Mine. It's on the Jamie record label, the first of two for the Pentagons on that Philadelphia label. Let's continue. 3 more 45s to go before Johnny G's signing off here. Now, last week's Vinyl Treasure Show played a request for Nat Papagallo by the Camerons. They were out of the Bronx, New York. Their rendition of the Selections song, Guardian Angel, featured it on its first label, Cousins Records, later picked up by Felsted. Let's flip the 45 over before it goes down in the no humidity basement. Now, incorrectly said that Bobby Falcone was on lead. No, that was not correct. The lead singer on the record was Mike DiMartino, and he's also on lead on the flip side here. It's a song he wrote from September 61. These are the Camerons on Cousins with The Girl That I Marry.
The girl that I marry will have to be soft and sweet and as gentle as a baby, as lovely as the birds that sing, as happy as a day in spring, and as bright as a star in the sky. I'll treat her sweet and gentle and be so very true. I'll never make her cry, treat her mean or make her blue. I love her with all my heart and hope that we never part for all eternity. The girl that I marry will have to be soft and sweet and as gentle as a baby, as lovely as the birds that sing, as happy as a day in spring, and as bright as a star in the sky.
B-sides here on the Vinyl Treasure Show. Those are the Camerons, 1961. That's the flip side of Guardian Angel. The Girl That I Marry is the name of the tune. Featured it on the First Press Cousins Records, and features Mike DiMartino on lead, a song that he wrote. Now, the Felsted 45, this also came out on Felsted Records, and there is an alternate title. It's called A Girl I Marry. And, of course, this group would later on record as the DeMills on the Laurie label. 2 more 45s to go before Johnny G signs off here. And I love to feature Pittsburgh's own Marcel's here on the Vinyl Treasure Show. So let's give a spin to their 9th of 13 releases on the Colpix label. The late Cornelius Harp on lead. This one from July 1962. The Marcel's on Colpix with Loved Her the Whole Week Through.
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Loved her the whole week. Dum dooby dum dooby dum dooby dum dooby.
Treated her on a Sunday, took her out on a Monday.
Well, now then, what did you do?
Tuesday night, oh, we were walking in the moonlight. Wednesday and Thursday, we held hands in the park.
Well, now then, what did you do?
Held her close 'cause she was afraid of the dark.
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Loved her the whole week. Dum dooby dum dooby dum dooby dum dooby.
Friday night, we were alone together.
Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I'm there the whole week through.
Friday night we were alone together.
Well, now then, what did you do?
I'm here to tell you we didn't talk about the weather.
Oh no.
Saturday night, oh, she let me kiss her.
Well, now then, what did you do?
Sunday morning I began to miss her.
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I'm there the whole week. Dum doobie dum doobie dum doobie dum. Dum doobie dum doobie dum doobie dum. Dum doobie dum doobie dum doobie dum. Dum doobie dum doobie dum.
July 1962 release there for the Marcells. Cornelius Harp on lead there. That's actually the B side of the 45. Loved her the whole week through on the Cold Picks record label. Of course, Daryl says we can't file that one back unless I play the A side, which is Friendly Loans. It's okay, but I prefer that side, but they're both okay. But anyway, that's going to do it for Johnny G and the Vinyl Treasure Show. I want to thank you for joining Johnny G, listening to original vinyl 45s out of my collection. You want to get in touch with me, send me an email at vinyltreasures@aol.com. You can also rewatch the show if you go to the YouTube, my YouTube website, and hopefully I won't have any copyright strikes. A Wednesday night on that countdown show, I had one strike on a Sam Cooke record. I played Chain Gang, and I thought maybe I would have a problem with that. I did not. I had one of his obscure records on Keen. I had to remove it, and I needed to remove, but I wasn't going to do it, the Flamingos record, Mio Amore. They said that people in Japan could not view the video, so it's partially blocked. I said, okay. I said, everybody else in the world can see it except the people in Japan. They're going to have to go to my website, vinyltreasures.net, to hear it, because it's a pain in the neck to remove those songs from the stream. I don't know if it's because I do 2.5 hours and how the program runs, but what they do is they run my show in a short period of time, 2.5 hours through a filter, and anything that is tagged as a copyright issue, they send me an email for every single one. I usually get about 20 or 25 every weekend, and if one of them is problematic, they shut down the video. It just won't play, so I have to go and use a program to remove it. So I had to remove that Sam Cooke record anyway, unfortunately. But anyway, that's going to do it for the show tonight. I hope you enjoyed all the tunes. This was supposed to be my all 60s show, but I was not prepared. I will be prepared next Saturday, and then the Saturday after that I won't be here. Jeff will be filling in for me, so you can tune into Platypus Jeff and all the shows here on Top Shelf. Now tomorrow night, my buddy Dave the Rave and his Relics and Rarities show will be on from 9 to midnight right here. But we're going to close the show tonight. Actually, it's a great record. This record, I love this tune. It's a request for George Tompkins. It's out of Los Angeles, California. We go to Sid Talmadge's Highland label. You know that label because Rosie and the Originals had a big hit with Angel Baby, but this one was not a hit. It should have been a hit, I say. The group consists of Frank Henry, Thomas Vance, and Virginia Wilson. They were all named Wilson and probably all related in some way. I don't know if they're brother and sister or cousin or whatnot, but they were all had the same name, Wilson. And the record is produced by Bobby Sanders, and the lead singer on this tune is Frank Wilson. It's the same Frank Wilson that was hired by in 1965 by Motown Records to head up the West Coast operations in Los Angeles, California, and he was the one that recorded that ultra rare 45 on the Soul label. If you know the song "Do I Love You, Indeed I Do," the lead singer of this group recorded that song on the Soul label. Of course, I don't have it on that. I don't have that record. But anyway, this group also recorded as the Remarkables on the Audio Arts label. There is also some great records on Audio Arts, Soulful Sounds. But the closer tonight is by the Wilsons. It's going out to George Tompkins and also Nat Papagallo. I know you like this record. You have the bootleg of it in your jukebox, I'm pretty sure. But anyway, it's from November 61, the Wilsons on Highland with Let Me Help You. That's a great tune out of California. That's going to do it, folks. Hope you enjoyed the tunes. Thank you so much, Charlene, for all your help. Very important to Johnny G to get the show for all you guys to tune in on a Saturday evening. I'll be back next Saturday. It's my All 60s show. Got a few requests I'm going to fill and going to have some cool records out of my collection. So tune in next Saturday from 10 to midnight right here on Top Shelf Oldies and all the shows here on Top Shelf Oldies. Once again, folks, that's going to do it. Hope you enjoyed the tunes. Want everybody to have a safe and happy week. I'll see you next week right here on Top Shelf Oldies. Just want to say, everybody, so long. All right, folks. I love that record. I forget what I paid for this record. I think I paid $200 for this 45. I think it goes for more now. I don't know how much it goes for, but it's a great tune. 1961, the Wilsons on Highland Records. Let Me Help You. Frank Wilson on lead there. I'll never own that soul record by Frank Wilson. That is for sure. I'd like to. But anyway, folks, hope you dug on all the tunes here. I really get enjoyment from playing my records. I never get a chance to play my records on my own, only when I'm testing. I mean, really, sometimes when Dave the Rave came up over the house to visit, we play records a little bit, and sometimes we don't even listen to them all. But anyway, That's going to do it, folks. Again, send me an email for requests or you want to talk about the show. Thanks so much for sticking around. And again, if I can bring some enjoyment into your Saturday evening, that's really all that matters anyway. So again, also Charlene, thank you so much for your help, because it's so helpful to help me with the information about these groups. It's a lot of work that Charlene and I do to put together the show. But anyway, again, it's a labor of love for your host, Johnny G. So everybody, again, safe and happy week. I'll see you next week on Top Shelf Oldies and here on YouTube. So long, folks. Bye-bye.